Hey guys, NJ here, and we're just having a quick look at my current frame, my current setup, what I go out and fly with, and what my recent freestyle videos, which frame has been behind it all. So this is the Beast X. You know, I did a frame overview where I looked in more detail at this. Although we didn't do a build video on this, I thought it would be interesting to come back and look at it, and I'll link in the description my latest freestyle video. If you haven't already seen that, go and have a look. This is the frame behind it. So I've been really pleased with the way this performs. It not only flies fantastically, it's also incredibly tough. As you can see from that video, there was a few really nasty crashes and absolutely no damage to the quad whatsoever. In fact, the only damage I had in one of the really bad crashes was the VTX, the antenna separated from one particularly nasty crash, but the main thing is there was absolutely no crack and no damage to this SMA mounting bracket at the back. So I'd much rather it did that than take it out on the VTX or any of the more expensive components. So this has done its job. The angle that this comes away, everything has been absolutely spot on. I've had no problems with prop striking anything, and you know, same with my GT2 and this one, I've had no problems breaking or smashing any lenses at the front. I will say the lens I've got in here was actually it's a pretty old 2.1, and it's got a really long focus. To actually get it to focus, the barrel length is actually really long. I've since got a couple of different 2.1 lenses that actually sit much further in this canopy than this one does. So although it's not particularly easy to see from here, this is far more proud than it would be with a better choice of lens on the front, which I will be replacing. So in terms of the internal components and what I'm running, there's a few other bits I want to point out. I am using the Raceflight Revolt. I actually have a version 1 in here, which I got, which I was sent by the nice chaps at Raceflight. This was from the very first production run. As I said, this is a V1, and I've decided what I've actually used, which I found has done the best job with dampening, is actually old not motor wire. It's battery wire. If you get an old battery that's died, and you actually get the lead from it and cut the leads away, the actual silicone around it you can chop into slices, and they make perfect little silicone dampeners. So that's exactly what I did here. I just cut myself a load of silicone dampeners out of battery wire, and I've got those compressed down on top and bottom, and that seems to work absolutely wonderfully. I'm really happy with the way that's been working out. Now that is currently running RC12, which is where we're at right now, and with every new release candidate as we head towards the final release of RF1, I'm seeing improvements, which is really good. The most noticeable improvement I'll say was actually from one of the earlier ones, where I switched out to a 5S because I wanted to see how this would perform on 5S. I will get onto that in a later date, but 5S, initially, I think it was RF, one of the early release candidates. As you would expect with a flight controller, when you go up to 5S, you tend to find that your PIDs are then too high and you have to reduce them, and that was the case. I had to reduce the PIDs because it was oscillating badly on the higher voltage. Now in the later release candidates, I think upwards of RC8 or RC9, I can't remember which one it was, I left it on stock PIDs and I flew 4S. I put the 5S on, and it was exactly the same flight characteristics, which was pretty incredible. So I was really shocked to see that you can go up to 5S without having to touch the PIDs at all. So there's some more tuning wizardry going on in there, which I'm really liking. So moving on to the lower deck, what I have in there for the PDB, I have a PDB with current sensor and OSD built in. This is the Maytech Hub OSD SE. Now there was the Eco variety, which I had in my Luminaire QAVR, and that was not bad. The problem I found was that there was a bit of video noise, which I wasn't too happy about, but I lived with, but I loved everything else about the OSD that comes on this. It's very minimal. It shows you just what you need in terms of how many milliamps you've taken out the pack and how much current you're drawing, and everything else is just kind of out the way. And then when you land, it will tell you two other important things. Oh, and there's a flight timer obviously from when you arm, when it senses more than 2 amps going through the system. But the bit I like is when you land, it will tell you the highest amount of current that was drawn, which is that's always an interesting stat to see after you land, depending on what batteries you're running, what voltages you're running. That's an interesting one to look at. And also the minimum voltage in terms of what did the battery sag to, what was the lowest point that the battery dipped to within that flight period. Again, a really useful stat to have. So the Maytech Hub OSD SE, I really recommend that. It's great. It's an OSD that gets out of the way, shows you just what you need, and I think you can actually wire up an interface to it and change bits of it if you want, and move stuff around with the correct USB adapter. It's not something that I've felt the need to do, so I've just left it as it came out the box, and it's been absolutely fine for me. But yeah, that's a really cracking OSD, and more importantly, the video is really clear. I haven't needed any kind of LC filtering at all. It's been fine. On the subject of filtering, of course, the other thing I always do in my builds and always recommend you do is to put a capacitor in and wire it in to the right next to where the main battery terminal in is on the XT60. It's only a 470 microfarad 35 volt, and that's just enough. It's really I'd much prefer 1000 microfarad, but 470 is absolutely fine, and it just helps take away a little bit of those reverse motor braking spikes, voltage spikes that can slowly, I mean, you may run without one, you may be fine, you may not care to put one in, but it just takes a little bit of the hammering from those voltage spikes that can start to wear on other components like the regulators you've got in there supplying volts to your camera and VTX and everything else. And if you're one of these people that direct connects your camera to the PDB, even more so, I suggest just chucking one of those in. It's really not going to cost you anything in terms of weight, and it's really just finding space to fit it in, and I think it's worthwhile if you can just you know, go to the extra small effort of putting one in just to help protect your electronics that little bit further. The other thing that I would like to point out is these ESCs. Now, I was sent this by GoFPV here in the UK, who is an official stockist of Furious FPV parts, and these are the SpeedX High Volt 3-6S BL Heli S and D-Shot Ready, D-Shot 600 Ready ESCs. Now, these are smaller and lighter than comparable ESCs like the DYS XS30s and other popular ones. They're definitely, I think, I'm pretty sure they were certainly in kind of the top 5 of 2016, maybe are still in the top 5 in terms of their performance. I think they are absolutely awesome ESCs, not only because they're smooth, they've handled 5S without so much as a single, I've had no desyncs, no issues. They run smooth, they run cool, they're lighter than most ESCs rated to the same voltage and current. And the other thing is, they are just so cheap. What I would pay for these would be considerably more than what they are. So yeah, these SpeedX ESCs are absolutely fantastic, and they get a huge thumbs up from me. Now, if any of you want to go to the GoFPV website, and I'll put a link in the description, the guy over there, Chris, has actually done me a discount code for my subscribers, you lucky guys. So if you put NJ Tech in as a discount code, not only are these incredibly cheap anyway, you'll get a further discount on them as well. So I hope that helps any of you out that are on the fence about perhaps what ESC to go with. I haven't tested them on Success yet because I think Success is a bit nuts, but maybe I'll try it if the right pack happens to cross my path. Motor wise, I'm using the ZMX X25s. These are insanely torquey motors. I use 2300 kV. I love 2300 kV. It's a perfect balance for me between efficiency and power. and yeah, I'm just really happy with the way those are performing, especially on these awesome V2 Cyclone props, which are 5046 6x5 by 3. The ZMX motors, they haven't been without their issue. They are, as I said, insanely torquey, but I think that's also been part of their problem, as I have had to mess around with the motor timing to get these to really behave, and I've actually found that a medium-low motor timing seem to end up working the best with these, and that a medium or above motor timing seem to cause some unwanted oscillation problems unrelated to, you know, well, not directly related to messing around with tuning and the flight controller, because I've tried a few different flight controllers on these. They just seem to behave slightly better on a slightly lower timing. So yeah, these fusions are good. I will be trying out a couple of different sets of motors that will be coming in fairly soon. The 2450 white Emax motors I will be testing, and also those shiny new gold Cobra motors that I'm hearing lots of good things about. Those will be coming in soon, so keep an eye on the channel if you want to know more about those. The other thing that I have up in here is just up inside the, let me try and turn this over, I'm not sure if you can see it, but up inside the top section here I have a TBS Unify and then an XSR. Now I just decided to go with the Unify. I don't like how hot the Unify gets, but you know, as long as you're flying, it's not really an issue. It gets plenty of cooling. But the Unify supports smart audio, which is something that will, using a custom Lua script on your Taranis, and is now supported by Raceflight, will enable me to change the VTX power on the Unify and the channel, and that's a really cool thing. So that's why in particular I went with the TBS Unify on this one, although there are other smart audio VTXs that are around, like the Tramp by Immersion RC, which is another really good VTX. I don't think that's got support on Raceflight just yet, but it's coming, and I'm sure on a bunch of other flight controllers too. So I think smart audio is going to be a real thing soon. But yeah, I absolutely love this BeastX frame. I love the way it performs. Again, have a look at the flight video that I recently put up. I'll link it at the end of this video. And yeah, there's just a little overview and look at my frame and what I'm running. The last thing to mention, which I should, is also the GoPro mount I'm using. I'm running a Session GoPro Hero Session 5 in there, and this camera is fantastic. Really, you know, I'll be talking more about this camera, and also just a sneaky heads up, one of these guys. So these will be getting a comparison soon, so we can talk about those. That's enough about that for now. But yeah, the mount that I use, this is specifically one that's been designed for the BeastX. The STL file for this is available on the website where you order the BeastX over at Ready Eddy. Again, I'll put a link in the description. And it is a 30-degree mount. They've already got 15 degrees on the Beast here anyway, and when this straps down with some zip ties through these holes, you end up with a 45-degree angle for the camera, which I find to be perfect, especially in super view. I tend to see everything. Again, you can see that in the freestyle flight videos. So that is really a good look at everything that I'm flying right now, and that I'm really loving. The other thing I should mention, there is a new Beast on the horizon. The Beast SX will be hopefully with me shortly. Lots of people cried out that they wanted a stretch decks version, and the guys just went away and designed the stretch decks straight away, and yeah, it's a thing. It's up on the product page, I believe, now, and yeah, I'm very much looking forward to seeing how that flies when it arrives. I will do a build video on that, because I didn't do a build video on this one. I'll do one on that this time round, so that you can see how I put my quads together. So as we approach 5,500 subscribers, I just want to say a massive thank you for all of you guys that have stuck around, everyone that's new, everyone that leaves all these great comments for me to read. I do read every single comment, I answer every single comment. And it's always so positive, and everyone's helping to make the channel grow and helping each other out, and it's really a perfect scenario. I'm super happy with the way things are going, but it is just a huge thanks to you guys for doing so. And obviously I've mentioned it before, I'll mention it again, I do have a Patreon page which again is linked in the description, where I can help people out on a one-to-one basis, and I give not only like the code I've given you here, there are separate codes and additional codes that I give to give you price reductions on various different products and bits that I certainly use and build. So there's some good things over on the Patreon page, and there's more good things to come on over there. So if you fancy giving as little as $1 a month to help me and support the channel, I will certainly be giving back a whole ton over there as well. So thanks to everyone, really appreciate it, and I'll see you guys as always in the next one.